for this? What's up, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Off the Clock TV. And I know what you are thinking. Where the hell have you been? All right, good question. So I know that you have seen the title and the thumbnail for this. Where I have been and the meat and potatoes of this video are two very, very different things. I'm going to very, very quickly let you guys know where I have been. And I have been here, focusing on me, putting my head back together and trying to get myself straight for the last few months. Since I got fired from my last job, if you haven't seen those videos, I will link them below. But since I got fired from my last job, I've kind of had a lot of time to think and reflect and wanting to do something new again. I've just been taking a little bit of time to clear my head, but now we are back, motivated, but we did get some really, really crappy news. Now, we are gonna move into that segment here in just a minute. We are gonna leave this beautiful waterfront, and I'm going to take you to the, what did I call it? Operation station, my lair. No, it had a cool name, the danger zone. I don't know. Over the last couple of months, I've actually filmed so many vlogs, and I'm not gonna show them to you because I deleted all of them. There are so many things that I've done and I'm like, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet. But now you guys are watching this because I am ready. Bear with us for one boring talking vlog, please, because starting tomorrow, I'm gonna be filming my regular vlogs. We're gonna be a little bit more action-packed. We're gonna be doing some more things again, and I hope that you guys are going to enjoy them. I'm very, very glad to be back. I got some more information for you guys coming up on what this actual video is about, and then stay tuned because the show is only starting. We are doing a lot of different things on this channel because I want to keep you guys entertained, and there's no reason why I am not. So, time for the meat and potatoes. Let's get on to why I was denied to rejoin the Army. All right, guys and girls, we are here in the creation station, and we are back to talk about the meat and potatoes of this video, and that is why I was kicked out of the Army. So, we're gonna have to have a little bit of backfill on my life just so, you know, some of this can make sense. So, I'm going to tell you a couple quick little things. I'm not going to get super into detail, but then I'm going to explain this process here. One thing that you guys might not know about me is I have a daughter. She's 7 years old. She's born in 2015. Unfortunately, I do not have custody of my daughter. When all this transpired in 2015, I was in a really rough spot in my life. I don't think I could focus on anything other than the feeling of just wanting to be drunk. I chose a bottle life. It just killed me on the inside. And I knew that as I was in the National Guard that I had this deployment coming up. And I knew that this deployment was my opportunity to escape from this like takeover of my mental health that was currently going on. So I was really looking forward to that, and unfortunately I ended up breaking my right ulna. I had, you know, some complications from that, nothing too crazy, but unfortunately I wasn't able to go on that deployment. That put me in a little bit deeper of a rut because I really was looking forward to that deployment as the opportunity to escape from these issues and rebuild myself. So I didn't want to run from my problems because that's not what I did. But I wanted to go and find myself. I really thought that this was going to be a good opportunity. And down the road, what had happened was I ended up having the opportunity to volunteer. So I did volunteer to go overseas, and that opportunity, honestly, in my opinion, really saved my life. It brought me out of the situation that I was in. I met some of the best people that I've ever met in my life. And the company that took me on was just fantastic, you know, from the Joes all the way up to the commanding staff. And I'm so grateful for those guys and taking me in, not knowing my situation, and they just immediately treated me like family, so I really appreciate them. During that time, though, I ended up speaking to a therapist, and I didn't exactly realize that everything that you say, there is no doctor-patient confidentiality. It's just what you say to me, you say to MedCom, which is the medical command. I discussed my drinking and how I, you know, came here to escape that and just do better. Since my deployment, that's exactly what I've done. Let's fast forward now a year to 2018, and I'm getting ready to get out of the military, and I'm like, you know, I don't think I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna go talk to the VA. I have a long list of issues that I've had, all of which got denied, except for one. I'm going to show you this because I think that this is so stupid. Document number 1 shows exactly what my 30% current disability rating is for, and it's for sleeping is getting worse. Now, I did not have a sleep study. I did not get evaluated by anyone. I do not take any medication. At the time, I'm like, you know what? Okay, cool. They want to give me this money. They say that I have this. I'm not going to say no to that. It helps me out. I felt like a fool to say no to that. Now we fast forward to about 4 months ago after I got fired from my job. And I said, you know what? I'm a single man. There are dreams and goals that I had in the Army. I wanted to do more due to injuries and issues with my daughter. I wasn't capable of doing that. But I'm so many years past that. You know, I'm 29 years old now. I'm almost 30. And I really felt that I could go back and achieve the things that I wanted to achieve. I could go back and go into Ranger Regiment, which is something that I've just always wanted to do. You know, in the back of my mind, I always wonder, like, is that something that I can do? Is that something that I can endure? Do I have what it takes? Now I'm never gonna know. I ended up going to MEPs probably about a month and a half ago, and I just had this really awful recruiter. And if you're a recruiter watching this, okay, if you have a prior service person, do yourself and this person a favor and don't talk to them like if they're a high schooler coming in for the first time. You know, it is very disrespectful to have these recruiters talk to you like if you're an idiot. It just sucks. And honestly, you guys are horrible people. You are really horrible people. Not one of you, all of you. You're horrible. You're welcome. Yeah, you're horrible. You're horrible. After weeks, and I mean weeks, 12 weeks of trying to get to MEPS, they finally got me to MEPS, and they're like, hey, so we are going to flag you for mental health. And I was like, what? It's like, why? And the lady's like, well, you mentioned that you had some issues with alcohol. I was like, oh man. I was like, well, I don't really drink anymore, you know? I spend my time exercising and getting in shape. And she's like, well, if you've mentioned that within 36 months, you can't get back into the military. I said, well, when was this mentioned? And she's like, it was mentioned here in your charts in, I think it was 2016. I'm like, ma'am, it's 2022. I'm not a math teacher, but come on now, that don't add up. And then they're like, well, we want to know about your, so I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. So with my sleeping is getting worse, what they gave me was unspecified anxiety disorder. Well, you have an anxiety disorder and you have some issues with drinking in the past. I'm like, okay, well, no biggie. It's been years. I mean, years, okay? I'm talking like end of 2015, and that never even carried into 16. Here I am in 2022 thinking, you know, this is 5-6 years past. This is not a big deal. Or longer, 6 or 7. I don't know, I'm not a math teacher. You know, this is just really frustrating. So I get a text message from the recruiter, and I'm looking at it right now. He reaches out to me and he says, your waiver is denied, man. Says stress in training can make your issues worse. Sorry, man. How do we contest it? Because it's bullshit. His response, can't. That's it. Just can't. And then went into this, sorry, your waiver got denied. I don't want to ever talk to you again because I don't have to ever talk to you again attitude. That kind of really pissed me off. So I requested to speak to the commander. His response like an hour and a half later is, the first sergeant said that you can call him. Like, I don't want to talk to the first sergeant. I want to talk to the commander, but whatever. I ended up calling the first sergeant, and the first sergeant gave me the whole, I've been in recruiting for 10 years and it's probably because you sucked at being a soldier. Essentially what he told me was, you need an act of Congress. They, at the recruiting office, sent me this picture. I will show you this picture right here. It is a picture of the recruiter's computer. It shows what MedCom said on denying my waiver. And so it reads, applicant with generalized anxiety disorder. Generalized anxiety disorder, not unspecified anxiety disorder, generalized, which I do not have. And if we look back at some of my other documents, I have proof that I don't have generalized anxiety disorder, nor do I have any showing of that. And the psychiatrist put that, who I spoke to overseas, in my paperwork. Applicants with generalized anxiety disorder and history of alcohol abuse, both diagnoses likely to worsen in stressful situations such as basic training and deployment, recommend disapproval of waiver. I don't have to go through basic training again, so I'm not too stressed out about that. I volunteered for a deployment. I even volunteered for a humanitarian mission for 40 plus days in the Keys after Hurricane Irma, and nothing got worse. I didn't choose alcohol, I didn't lose my mind, I didn't freak out, I didn't go AWOL. I just continued to be a good soldier, where I received multiple good conducts and accommodations for my deployment. I received state meritorious service medals for my time in the Keys, to include humanitarian service aid medals, and I was very, very proud of that. To top that off, I was in the military funeral honors program, and I've done over 300 services. That's how much I've given back, and I feel that I've given so much. And to come into why I got denied, I just really feel is horrible. So I ended up taking this up to Congress, and I put together all these documents, and I said, hey, listen, what they have here is essentially not true. I've got a diagnosis that I was honestly never really diagnosed with. There was nothing. Just, hey, you got this, good luck. Like, sorry, here's 30%. Yeah, I had my issue with alcohol, but I mean, what soldier hasn't? You know, there's people in the military who don't even have a leg. Like, they're missing a leg. You're trying to tell me that they don't drink a few beers after losing a leg? Congress looks at my paperwork, and they're in agreement with me. They're like, we think that this is crap, and we're gonna put in a congressional inquiry to have your medical status re-evaluated. They got back to me yesterday, and I was pretty emotional, I'm not gonna lie, when I got this information, because it sucks. So this is from Chief Congressional and Special Actions Branch, and I will put this up on the screen as well. Mr. Frederick's desire to serve in the U.S. Army is admirable and sincerely appreciated. However, he is not qualified for enlistment since he does not meet the medical standards established by the Department of Defense. The Chief Medical Officer at the United States Military Entrance Processing Station found Mr. Frederick medically disqualified for enlistment with the armed forces due to his medical history. So on a piece of paper, they see, yeah, I used to drink beer back in the day, and you have a anxiety disorder. You're barred. But no facts were looked into, taken into consideration. Yeah, let's go with that one. No facts were taken into consideration at all. That just sucks. And I tried to like explain this to them at the MEP station, and they didn't want to hear it. And I was like, hey, I've got documentation. Can we come back and view this together? Nope, didn't want to hear it. If you read on in the paperwork, you'll see that essentially once they made their decision, there is no appeal. The decision is the decision. And despite putting together the facts and showing that, hey, that alcohol thing was in 15, you know, we're in 2022, halfway through it. We're almost into the 23 fiscal year at the time of all this. I go to Congress, I get the congressional inquiry, and that's it. They just said, no, sorry, we're not going to look into this for you. I think one of the biggest things that kills me about this, realistically, is just the fact that they didn't want to do their due diligence. And they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to take a new guy off the streets who's a high school dropout, no GED, no college, because the military's either retention is so horrible or they're ramping up for something because they have dropped their standards for re-entry like you wouldn't believe. And they're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a new soldier trained when I've already done that. And they would not take the time to do the due diligence and say, you know what, this soldier's done a lot for us. Let's look at the 6 pieces of paper that he sent us. Even the psychiatrist said, I am fit for duty. I am fit to hold a weapon. I'm fit to do my deployments. I am okay. And that's how I feel. I think that the military taking my mental health into consideration right now is admirable, but here's a little something for MedCom. If you're concerned about my mental health now that you've basically kicked me in my crotch, I would hope that you continue to take my mental health into consideration. My birthday is on Veterans Day, and you guys have my home of record. So send me a card and ask me how I'm doing. See if my medical health is okay, and check in on me, because you guys really honestly care so much about my mental health. I don't think you guys realize what you did to my mental health. That sucks. And I really just, I'm at a big loss for words. But I know that some of you guys watching this are like, oh, whatever, boo-hoo, it ain't the end of the world. It's actually not the end of the world. I think what upsets me the most is that they wouldn't even do their due diligence and actually just investigate this, because I am a good soldier and I was a good soldier, and I made some mistakes in my past, but I don't think that they warrant disqualification, and they just dismiss it. They were just like, whatever. And that's kind of what sucks. But to get to me, we got some things in the works, and I know this is a really long episode, and honestly I doubt any of you even watched this far, and for those of you who did, honestly I really appreciate you. But let's talk a little bit real quick while I got you here about Off the Clock TV and the future of it. So videos are going to kick back off. For sure. To top that off, we're going to be doing shorts. We're going to have a lot of shorts. I'm going to try and get as many shorts as I can a week. We're going to be implementing some new things to the channel to include, coffee burp. I am going back to school to be opening up a business here soon. It may or may not involve the giant wall of hats that I have behind me. You can see that one of my passions are hat collecting. So we are going to be doing the OTC TV branded hats. That is going to be in the works for next year. It's not going on now. The equipment that I need is not cheap. We're looking at like a $25,000 startup, which is fine. I got some investors and people who want to take care of this, but what I'm going to school for is going to be graphic design. So I am going to be taking an 11-month course next year, and I will be designing my own patches, designing my own logos. We're going to be doing a few different things. For those of you who know this and don't, so we got Richardson's. This is a, I had to double check this is Richardson. It is. This is a 112. So we're going to be doing Richardson 112s. This is a patch hat. So we will be creating patches and creating designs like that. We will also be doing engraved hats. So we will be doing engravements. This is also a Richardson. We will be dabbling with Yupongs as well. We have another set of Richardsons, which I really, really like. And this is the Richardson model 862. This is a patch hat as well, but the fitment on this is really awesome, and their color schemes is essentially this and this. So I think that these 862s are really, really awesome. They're super sleek. They fit the head really good. Lastly, we will eventually be moving into the leather. You guys cannot read that. It doesn't matter. It says Black Rifle Coffee Company. We will be moving into the leather, but that's going to be a little bit down the road. Those laser engravers that I'm going to need for that are super expensive. But we got some plans. Hopefully I can build back what we started with Off the Clock TV and build it better. And I want to bring people with me. And I want to really look up to, as you can see, almost every hat that I showed you other than my Demolition Ranch one, to include the one that's even on my head, was a Black Rifle Coffee Company hat. And I really look up to those guys over at Black Rifle Coffee Company, and I love what they do. I love what they stand for and how they give back to veterans. And I think that that's something that I want to do. Looking at the situation that I've been put in, it humbled me. I am really honestly not upset that the Army said no to me. I'm a little frustrated, yes. Will I ever know if I would have been able to complete RASP and enjoy a little bit of a career in Ranger Regiment? I don't know, but I don't need that to be happy. That's just something, a little, mental box that I wanted to check and say, hey, I've been there and I've done that. But I think that I've now been led into a much better path. And I'm just really excited, and I know this is going to take a lot of time. It's not going to be profitable quick, but we're just going to keep doing what we love to do, which is put videos in front of you guys. Now, create hats. We're gonna create our own designs. We'll do some large corporate orders for people who want their own specific hats. I just think that this is a step in the direction of what makes me happy, because it's not money, it's not traveling, it's not fancy stuff, it's hats. It's this camera, it's you guys, all, I think 232 of you right now, which is nothing, but for me that's awesome. I love you guys, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for enduring this long video. I know that this is a long one. This is probably gonna be the longest video I put out for a very long time, but we are kicking it off tomorrow. We got the Battle of the Bays. The Green Bay Packers, as they take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Me and Big Tuna, we're gonna go link up with some friends. We're gonna be meeting at the Raymond James. We got some tailgating, we got some during the game, and we got some after the game festivities that we have going on, and that is how we are going to be re-kicking off the Clock TV. So I am officially doing this thing with my hands again, but I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching another episode of Off the Clock TV. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Check us out at the Off the Clock TV Snapchat. Make sure you go to our Instagram at Off the Clock TV Pics. Check us out on Facebook at OffTheClockTV.com. Also, just go into the description so that you can see all of that. But I am officially clocking out. Goodbye.